Welcome to the Business Over Beer Happy Hour, a daily dose of support for business owners, entrepreneurs, and people passionate about what they do. Hosted by Ben Surratt, Jonathan Kaler, and Jason Knope, it's time to grab a beer, enjoy some cheer, and join together.
All right, everybody. Hey, welcome. It's 5 o'clock. We all know what that means. 5 o'clock is the Business Over Beer Happy Hour. I am your bartender for today. My name is Ben. Across the bar from me is hashtag respect the hair, the man of the hour, the terror of power. There you go, Jonathan. Mr. Jonathan Kaler. Hello, Jonathan.
Finally, a proper introduction, man. Thank you so much. That makes me happy. I love it.
Yes.
And, of course, across the bar from me, the gift that keeps on giving. Are you down tonight, everyone, with the K-N-O-P-P?
Yeah,
you know me, Jason Knope. Welcome to Happy Hour, my friend. How you feeling tonight, bud?
I'm feeling okay today. I'm just would love a little bit more sun, but you know what? It's all good considering the circumstances. How's everybody else tonight?
Good, man. Thirsty.
Very chat. I'm thirsty too. But maybe we should introduce our guest, Mr. Lynn Sheehan of Evolve Strategic Ventures.
All right, Lynn, man. Welcome to Happy Hour, my friend.
Thank you. I'm glad I could finally make it. I think I spent most of the nights you guys have been doing this. I've been chasing my kids around the house trying to get them to do things.
Well, hey, man, we all got kids, and we're all doing some chasing. So if you need to take a break and just run and chase them for a while, that's fine. That'll make it on the final recording, and it will be entertaining for all.
I've locked myself in a closet for the next hour.
Yes.
It's always better to mute if you have to yell at them or chase them. You don't want to say the wrong thing.
See, I find other people's kids being pains in the butts entertaining. Now, when it's my kids, I hate that, but other kids,
it's funny.
That's funny. Lynn, hey, but seriously, man, welcome to Happy Hour. Why don't you tell us all just real high level, 50,000 foot view of a little bit about Evolve Strategic Ventures and what you're into?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks again for having me on, and looking forward to today, and appreciate it, what you guys are doing and getting the word out to people this week and trying to help people get through all this. So my company, Evolve Strategic Ventures, we were founded 3 years ago, and my focus with companies is really to help them define and then execute on growth strategies. And, these are strategies of growth, not to just get by, but really trying to help companies move into a whole nother realm of growth for their business. And, I've been getting an awful lot of calls the last few weeks around this topic, because companies are more trying to duck into survival mode. And so part of what, maybe we'll get to today is how do you get through survival mode and really look at how do you keep growing your company?
Well, because what we've talked about this week a little bit is that, while these are really challenging times for sure, and nobody's disputing that, it is an opportunity to evaluate your business and try to think about things differently and potentially take advantage of some opportunities that thinking about your business differently might open up for you.
Oh, absolutely. And it's, I think for everybody, it can be an emotional toll, right? They're trying to cope with all the things they're trying to accomplish with everything that's going on, protecting their families, protecting their employees and their business. And it's sometimes hard to pick your head up and look ahead, with that idea of how do I create some possibilities right now for my business?
Absolutely.
Totally. Yep.
Well, hey, this is the Happy Hour, Ben.
Yeah, I'm thirsty.
You are. That surprises me. It really does. So tell us, my friend, did you have another game with your kids to figure out what beer you were drinking?
I did. We had the beer choosing football game extravaganza is what the name of the game is. And I won today. And today...
That's catchy. That's really catchy. Ooh. You should try to market that.
Today, I won the Bearlick Brewing Futurismus Double Hazy IPA. This is with Strata and Eldorado hops. And I am excited.
Man, that sounds great. Canope, what do you got tonight, buddy?
I'm drinking a freshly squeezed IPA by Deschutes once again. It's always good.
Always a classic.
How about you, Kaler?
I popped open the Tree Frog Organic Pale Ale from our good friends at Hopworks Urban Brewery.
Yeah.
It is actually a delicious beer. It's really bitter. It's fairly low in alcohol, about 5.5% ABV. But yeah, really, it's nice, bitter, earthy. Kind of feel like a frog sitting out on a lily pad in the middle of the forest. It's wonderful. It's really good.
Sticking your tongue out for flies, huh?
That's me.
Lynn, what
What
are
about
you
you?
drinking?
Yeah, Lynn.
Man, Knope had it right. I'm missing the sunshine. I am looking for some warm weather, so I went a bit to the tropical side too. It's Mosaic Pale Ale from Freem.
Oh man,
Something tropical.
that sounds
I
great.
love
So
Freem. I love Freem.
for all of you
Yeah.
listeners, if you want to chat in what you're drinking, we'd love to know what makes you happy today as well.
Hey, guys, Prost.
Prost.
Prost. Good call, Canope.
Tea Money is sweet tea and sweet tea vodka? What? They make that? They make
What?
sweet tea vodka?
What I don't
Maybe she just
understand,
mixed it.
what I don't understand is why she's apologizing. She said, "Sorry, guys."
Lord, that's awesome. Sweet tea vodka. So, Lynn, what are you
Yes.
hearing from? Are you're working with businesses now? I'm assuming, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Busy time.
What
for
are they?
Everybody.
Yeah, what are they saying, or what's a common, besides this all sucks and whatever, what's the common thing that these businesses are telling you that you've noticed?
I think the common thing, as I kind of alluded to, is people are overwhelmed, right? They're overwhelmed with information that's coming at them from every direction and trying to figure out how to filter through all that to figure out what they should be doing. That's probably the number one thing. And one of the things I try to do all the time is stay up to date on, resources for companies that are free and easy to access. And I think with this situation, that's even a bigger need, because where do you go if you're trying to figure out how to get help for your employees? Or where do you go if you're trying to figure out how to get a bridge loan for your business? And I know you've had some great guests on this week talking about different places they can go to get help. And one of the things I did before the podcast today was I put up a page on my website that has links for the local area here and for Oregon and Washington to the sites that I'm passing on to all my clients as kind of the go-to spots for help. And when I look at those sites, I'm trying to pick through the sites that are not very helpful. The ones I put up on links to are ones where if you go to them, you'll see very clearly what to do to help in different circumstances for your business. So I think that's been the biggest thing, is just guiding people to, a way to get help that's not overwhelming.
And what I love about what you've done on your website is in that resources you've broken it down by Clark County, Washington State, Oregon State, federal support. So it's really easy to navigate. And there's some great resources there on your site, which of course we'll add the link to the show notes and the blog post that comes out of this recording. And for all the live listeners, I've put the link to your webpage there in the chat for people to grab if they're so inclined.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that
think
is nice
the
being
other
able to
thing-
just break it down like that. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, I think the other thing that people are trying to understand is how big of a crisis is this? And again, there's so much information out there on the worrisome side of this. And this is different. There's been a crisis pretty much every decade going back the last 50 years that we can go back and just name. But this one is kind of an unknown because the magnitude and how long it will last is still very vague. And so, given that, we have survived crises before, but this one is different. And I think that the other thing that I'm getting asked a lot is, what should I do? And I think the most important for everybody to understand, this is a crisis and you need to respond. And so you really need to take action now in all the different ways that might help your company get through this storm.
Totally, man.
So can you give us any examples of what that might look like, either for your business or for one of your clients, or maybe for a hypothetical client? What does that look like from your perspective?
Yeah, I think there's a few kind of key points that definitely you want to keep an eye on. First and foremost is always taking care of your employees. And you see on my site, there's a link to the CDC. And I think, a lot of people have been very good about replicating that message, is that if you really want to know what you should be doing for your employees, go to the CDC site. And so you really have to take care of your employees, but it goes beyond just, cleanliness and distancing. And it's, you need to understand that your employees are facing a lot of new challenges in their life, right? They might be, as we were talking earlier, caring for their family at home. They might have parents that are with them that are elderly. They're trying to work from home, and they're worried about their jobs and their livelihood. And so you really need to look after your employees. And that comes from being very authentic and sympathetic to them, that you understand and you're in the same boat. But also, you really need to communicate. And so it's important at this time that you really communicate with your employees on a regular basis and be as transparent as you can. The other thing you got to do is obviously prepare for a recovery, right? This is going to take a while. And
Amen.
So
I was just going to go there, Lynn. I was just going to.
Oh yeah. So, we got to prepare, and there's a lot of resources that are coming, but you've got to take advantage of them. And so again, kind of coaching clients that not just act now. So for example, a lot of people have been asking me about these SBA loans. You may not know right now that you're going to need it, but if you wait, it might not be there. And so, people need to be obviously financially responsible, but at the same time, if the governments, whether they be local, state, or federal, are trying to help, jump in and just at least get your name in the hat. So you got to prepare, because we don't know how long this is going to last.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've seen a lot of people worried about, not worried, but not wanting to get help, or a lot of people have, I don't know if it's pride or whatever. What do you say to those people, those businesses who are like, I can do it myself. I did it. I don't need any help. What do you say to those people?
Had that conversation with somebody this morning. Now is the time to be humble. For people who feel like, I can do this myself, I can get through anything. That's great. I appreciate that. But this is different, and you need to have a bit of humility. And that humility needs to come in the way that you go about trying to make decisions to protect your business, your employees, your customers, and you have to take action. So, literally having that conversation pretty much daily at the moment of, people that are sitting on the fence about, well, should I start planning for this or should I not? No, now's the time, right? You can't wait. And if there's things you can do to stabilize your company, you need to do that. And, that's kind of a primary thing that you need to think through is, what are the things I can do, not just to prepare for the long term, but really making my company stable right now. And I think, Brian on your show mentioned things like, look at all your bills that you've got as a company. What can you do without for the next 6 months? And start trimming up those bills. Then go to your major bills that you pay, like your lease on your office, and go to your landlords and start to negotiate if you can get a 90-day temporary lease rate or a delay of lease payments for 90 days. You've got to have a bit of humility and go ask. because you don't know if in 6 months' time, getting that 90-day delay of your lease saved your company.
Yeah, dude. I think Kayla, you were mentioning that this week. You had said something like communication is so key during times like this, and that's just another thing that we need to have more of now than ever is the communication.
Well, we've talked a lot this week about the fact that there is no right answer. Um, you know, nobody knows what the answers are. It's completely uncertain. But I think what you're saying, Lynn, is so important, that the answer is to be decisive. Like that's the answer, right? And do whatever it takes to defend your business right now. And I think that's a really important message, because yeah, if you wait, it's going to be too late, because everyone is in the same boat. This is something that is affecting everybody. There's crises that affect certain industries, or there's downturns that impact some companies more than others. But this is like nothing I've experienced. It is so broad. There is nobody that's not impacted by what's happening. And so to be decisive and go get help is so critical right now. So I just think that's a really important message that you're giving to your clients, and hopefully people will hear out of this.
Yeah, one of the things I did on the website was to go ahead and add on a clickable on there that you'll get directly to my email. And I'm telling people, look, if you need help and I can provide a 30-minute call with you, this is what I do for companies, is help them make tough decisions. So, if I can help you, please reach out and let's set up a time to do that.
Well, Lynn, you and I have met a couple of different times, and and you've been a great help to me, and giving me some guidance and a way to look at our business. But the last time we met, one of the things that you had said, and this was even before this crisis hit. Of course, it was, because we met in person, so it would have had to have been before this crisis. But you said, it's important to understand that we're all part of the same ecosystem. And that, just when you said that to me, it really struck me. And I had no idea kind of how prophetic that was, because we are all part of the same ecosystem. And, competitive, healthy competition is good for business. It's good for the economy. Talk a little bit about that idea of small businesses are all kind of part of the same ecosystem, and helping, and why helping each other is such a good thing in good times and in a crisis time like now, especially.
Yeah, you guys have had some great speakers on that talk to a lot of aspects of this. So, here in our region, and I would consider kind of the Portland and Vancouver area, the region, we're not the powerhouse economy of the world, and we're an up and coming area that has a lot of really talented people. And I think that the way we become successful is to keep leveraging the talent in our community. And so that means we all have to be sharing, right? You've got to be out there helping other people. And for everyone, that might look different. You find the places where you can make an impact with the knowledge and skills you have, and go out there and do that. And, right now, and I heard somebody on another show talk about this, coopetition is a real word. And, there's times when you have to really cooperate with your competitors. And I think this region is still kind of growing, small, but growing enough in the world that now it's a great example of where, somebody who you might consider a competitor might also be somebody that could be a good partner. And so, looking for those areas where instead of competing, we can all work together to keep the area alive and well. Now we're in this crisis. And so if you just start thinking of our ecosystem, I go out with my family once or twice a week to have lunch or dinner someplace. And I go to coffee probably 5 times a week with clients. Now we're not doing that. So that ecosystem has come to a grinding halt. So what are you going to do about it? So for me, I spent today, I went to Compass Coffee to the roastery and got coffee grounds. This week we ordered food from the Grains of Wrath, and we got beer at Grains of Wrath. And, so we're trying to go to the usual places we would if they're still serving the public and trying to support them. Because think of what our area would be like without all of those small restaurants and breweries and all the small businesses that help you do your job, the printers, the janitorial staff. These people are all losing their jobs, or their jobs are at risk. So our ecosystem is really going to show now, and how can you help?
Dude,
That's awesome.
that is awesome. Are people it would be tough. And I just think of it as a business owner myself, telling employees that, they have to go home and the uncertainty of their job. How do you tell your businesses that you work with? How do you tell them, or what advice do you give them to tell their employees that I don't know, I don't have all the answers, and I don't know about your job? That's got to be a terrible thing to go over with your employees. So how would you tell your businesses to deal with that, or what advice?
So in times of any kind of change, it doesn't have to be a crisis. Jonathan would be familiar with change management, right, in the workplace, and how do you manage an organization through change? This is just a significant change. And so the leadership that you need to show is kind of the same as any kind of change management. You need to be present. You need to be clear. You need to articulate what you know and what you don't know. And you need to be there communicating regularly, because we as humans will take our thoughts and turn those into our future thinking, meaning that your employees are going to say, well, he said our jobs might not go away, but might. What does might mean? Well, to me, that means I'm going to lose my job. I better panic, right? I should sell everything. So you want to avoid that by being a good leader and definitely sharing and communicating clearly what you know and don't know, but do it very regularly, so that if people start to kind of get their own thoughts generating, that you're recalibrating them to the facts. What do you know and what do you not know? And as you learn, you've got to just continue to communicate. And it's hard, right? These are people's lives. And that's part of being a business owner. The day you hire your first employee, you become responsible for them and their families and their livelihood and their future. And that's a pretty serious thing to take on. And this is where a lot of small companies, and business owners, it's a tough change, right, to have that responsibility. But you can't hide from it. It is your responsibility. So that's the advice I give people, is just communicate, and be authentic, right? Don't lie. Don't say things that you don't know for sure. Just be very clear. And if you don't know something, like if your employees ask you, what are our unemployment benefits going to be? Well, right now we don't know, because the federal $2 trillion federal plan that's going to be approved, it's not approved yet. And that will have significant impact on unemployment. So the best thing you could do as a leader in that example is you can point them to the state unemployment websites, which are live and accurate. That really outlines what's going to be available to people. And you can say that based on the $2 trillion federal package, there will be other benefits, but that hasn't passed yet. But as soon as it does, you will share with them what you think that will mean for them. Right? So that's where, being able to tell them what you know and what you don't know, and being very clear about it's important.
Dude, I'm sorry. I've been writing all that down. that was so good, Lynn. That was so good. I'm literally writing all that down. That is phenomenal. Thank you.
Well, I think as leaders, we say what we know in a way that protects ourselves, But what I'm hearing you say is that it's not enough just to say what you know, but to be very clear and upfront and honest about the things that you don't know. It's both sides of that story that is so important and so critical in that communication with your employees. And one of the things that I talk about are the fact that human beings are irrational, right? And we make decisions based on emotions. And so, when I, as an employee, hear a company leader say something, it's going to make me feel a certain way, and I'm going to react in potentially a completely irrational way, or react in a way that wasn't intended by the speaker. And I think any possibility or any time you can try to mitigate that by saying both, and it's so important. I've never heard anybody articulate it quite that way, Lynn. I think it's just great to make sure you're telling both sides of that. It's not enough just to say what I know, but to clearly articulate as well what you don't know. That's fantastic advice.
Yeah, totally, man.
I think the other important thing is, and you guys mentioned it, is really let's go play offense, right? So now that you've communicated the hard things and you've really looked at how to structurally put your business in a safer place, now what can you do to continue to survive, and what's that plan? And this is one where one of my favorite statements I heard this week on another podcast was really that create possibility. Just keep saying that to yourself and your staff that you have all the time. Create possibility. And those words kind of raise your positive feelings about this, right? It's not, oh man, things are going to get worse. Oh man, things are really bad. It's let's create possibility. And when you say that, it can't be a plus or a minus. It's really a plus. Let's go figure this out. And it's hard with like my clients. I can't think of a single one that we have not been able to find a way for them to make money now. It may be different. It may be a shift in what they're doing, but there is always a way. And so again, I think people need to make sure that they're stepping back and really looking at this as, okay, now that I've solidified my company base now to get me through for a while, what can I now do and turn my head to keep things moving?
And I just want to repeat that for emphasis. There isn't one company you've talked to that you haven't found ways for them to make money given the current situation. Is that right?
That's right.
That's incredible. I mean, and us as entrepreneurs, that's our mindset, right? We are possibility makers. That's why we do what we do.
That's exactly right. And for entrepreneurial companies, it makes my job easy because what I have to do is let them get out of their own way. So I need to help them get rid of the fear and focus on creating possibilities, and then they're off and running again.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's fantastic.
I love it. Create possibility, man. That's fantastic. Getting out of your own way. That's so tough. Love it.
As always, for anybody listening, if you have any questions for Lynn or for us, I don't know why you would ever ask us any questions when Lynn is here, but please feel free to chat in any questions you might have. We have just a couple minutes left here.
Yeah, just I have one more question for you, Lynn, and that is, where do you see the entrepreneurs and the small business owners? What's the biggest thing that they're doing to get in their own way?
It's fear. So it's, it really comes down to whatever you want to call it, right? There's lots of buzzwords around this. It might be mindset. It can be fear. It really comes down to how do you come up with ways to allow you to think in a way that when fear creeps in and says, no, you can't do that, or no, that won't work, you can push it aside.
Wow.
I've always tried to take the mindset. I think I heard Sarah Blakely say this, that, whenever you have fear of something, instead of thinking about it in terms of fear, think about it in terms of courage. Maybe you're afraid, but instead I'm going to have the courage to try to overcome that fear. And when you do that mindset around courage, instead of focusing on the fear, it opens your mind, it opens your heart, and opens your actions to to taking it on and trying to overcome whatever might be holding you back.
That's right. And, what a good time for anybody who's trying to learn these kind of concepts. There are so many great educators that are putting their normal education programs up and available for free. I took a course this week on writing that's usually like thousands of dollars, and they just post it for free because they're just trying to help people kind of find ways to continue building skills during a time when they might be at home, So I'd encourage any of your listeners, if there's a topic like that, whether it be fear or mindset or entrepreneurialism, go back out and look at some of the stuff you might have seen before that cost maybe too much money for you at the time. They more than likely are doing something that's for free right now.
That's a great idea.
That is a fantastic idea, Lynn.
Well, we're right up against it, Lynn. God, there's just, man, it goes fast. You're such a good business person. You're so bright and just so thankful that you took the time to share a few of these ideas with you. I'm excited about the fact that you are on our master guest list for our regular podcast. So when we're able to meet in person again, we're excited to have you on and learn more about you and kind of how you got to where you're at. But unfortunately, we got to leave it there for now. But if people want to find more about your business right now, where would you like to send them?
For sure. If they just head to the website that you're going to put up with the podcast, that's the great starting point. And as I said, if they go to the page for the COVID-19, there's a link on there that will connect them to me directly.
And that is evolvestrategicventures.com. You can find Lynn there. Lynn, thank you so much, my man.
Yeah, thank you very
guys.
much.
Love what you're doing for the community here.
Thanks, Lynn. Appreciate you, man. You got me going. You got my entrepreneurial blood flowing just by this 30 minutes, and I love it.
Well, put it to work.
Create possibility.
Hey, you sound like Angie now.
No, that's great though. I once you said it, I said it to myself a couple of times. I was like, damn, that is good. I like that.
Tomorrow we have Savannah Anderson and Carly McCarthy of Therapy Fitness right here in Vancouver. They will be joining us. They're the owners, and they're going to talk about the impacts to their business and what the governor's most recent order meant for them. And maybe if we're lucky, they'll give us a few ideas on ways to stay fit while we're all shut-ins. So join us tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Right here on our Podbean channel, and we hope to see you there.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Kaylor.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Canope. We will see you all later.
Good night.
Good night.
Business Over Beer reminds you to always drink responsibly. Our theme song is Alley Cat by Soul Shifters. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the next Business Over Beer Happy Hour.